Hi, everyone, and welcome to AB Conversations, where we will help you CFP your way out of it. A podcast where you get into the minds of a couple certified financial planners on how we think and feel about everyday financial planning questions and what should really matter most to you. A healthier financial life starts now.
And we're back. How you doing, Adam?
Great. How are you?
Excellent. So, podcast world, we're back at it with, I think, a little bit of a unique, unexpected topic today. So much of our work and what we're trying to share through this podcast are like financial planning tips and tricks, like how do we help people get from A to B?
Mm-hmm.
How about we talk about the stuff that doesn't work or the hurdles that people come up against throughout this process that can either be really discouraging. Maybe it's stuff that just gets them in a rut. We need to help them get unstuck. My mind's going to, all right, some of our themes have been around 2020, but really this is just life. Like we can set a plan. We can say, here's how things are going to go and here's what we're going to do. And then boom, you're kind of set back. So I don't know, let's talk about hurdles and how we overcome them.
Yeah. So less a technical podcast on a specific topic or topics, not about strategies, but really just like the nitty gritty. How do we actually help somebody do the planning and implement some of the things, like just do the process?
Yeah. And thank you for putting it in those terms. Yeah. So not technical. Let's just call it for what it is. Some of this is just going to be the mental side of like needing to get through life, and clearly we're talking about some biases to the finance side of things, but look, there are going to be certain things that are out of your control. So,
right.
Like, let's just put those there. You can't control this. That stinks, but then let's adjust. There are going to be certain things that we want to help people understand. Well, you can influence this. Like you're playing a role. So let's get through that. And then there's going to be the stuff that is just, again, it's a mental wall that's why you have us. So I don't know. Let's list a couple things where we would see somebody needing help getting unstuck.
Okay.
You want to start or should I?
Yeah. You go ahead. You start.
Sometimes it's just the lack of organization.
Yeah. If maybe we haven't said on this podcast, but we certainly have had the experience where, people come to us with the plastic shopping bag filled with unopened mail and feeling guilty about that. And our response is, that's okay. Like just starting. I mean, I think that's with a lot of things. Just starting the process is often a big hurdle in and of itself.
Yeah, because it looks too daunting. So right away, the mental picture comes to me of like, I'm literally talking about doing a puzzle with Lucas, my almost 4-year-old. Happy birthday tomorrow, Lucas. This puzzle looks daunting, but when you organize it into here are the edge pieces, here are the pieces that are all the same color, like it becomes more manageable to tackle it. And I think because there's just so many things that go into our financial life, and often they're in so many different places or they're influenced by so many different professionals or different people around us, it gets daunting. And if you're not organized, you don't know where you're at. You don't know what the next steps are. You're stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. And we certainly deal with the spectrum of, not necessarily like the extreme do-it-yourselfers, but there's the huge chasm between someone who uses Excel spreadsheets to track everything themselves and the people that just kind of have the pile of unopened mail, and we can kind of help everyone from both of those sides and then everything in between. But it truly is okay to not, I guess, feel like you have everything under control when it comes to this side of life.
Well, yeah, and let's call it for what it is there too. Sometimes money management and like being on top of these things, like I think it's fun. Like this is our career, this is what we do. But most people, like this isn't fun. So you kind of you set it aside and you're not organized about it. So I think that's probably the most common one. And even I don't want to make it sound like complete disorganization. There are people that are very organized, but their finances aren't in one spot, or they're not looking at it through one clear picture of how these things work together. And even that, So this is nuts and bolts. We can use technology. We can lean into programming. We have systems that we follow to help people feel organized, simply because whatever the task is, whatever the decision is, if you're organized, things become clearer to you.
Yes, that's fair.
I think the next one ties into that. And if you want to jump to one, again, I don't want to cut you off here.
No. I was gonna give potentially a tip in that sense, and maybe it's not really a tip, but it's for those where we see that, where it is just some lack of organization, or just not feeling like they kind of have all of their ducks in a row. Outsourcing, right? Us hiring somebody to help you organize that information. You said it, right? We have the technology. We've been through this. Like we have the systems in place. Outsourcing it and having somebody help you do that, that's more than okay.
Okay, so that's going to tie into a different one that was popping through my head. Like I think it's okay to try to help people understand the things that they can now automate in their lives, right? The amount of time and effort it takes to going into being organized, or to following or tracking things, or here we are saying, here's a whole financial plan that we took months to put together with you. We had hours upon hours of conversations. Now here are the things you need to do. Even that can feel like it's just too much to take on. If there's parts of that that can be automated, the review is automated, the organization is automated, the savings is automated. It just makes it so much easier to stay on track.
Yeah, that's I think that's one of the biggest helps, is the automation, right? Whether it's automating savings or automating the investing, or just whatever you can just set up to just happen without your input, as long as everything else is, that's set up correctly and on the front end. It may take a little bit more work initially, but to then not have to really focus or have that be another item or task that you need to do on an ongoing basis, it just removes that hurdle completely once you do it that first time.
Yeah, and take that one step further, automate the relationship. I mean, we do not hold meetings for the sake of just holding meetings, right? But we kind of understand that if we let things go, we even just communication with people, if we let things go for too long and then you try to jump back into it, there's too much to get caught up on. There's too many things that may have changed where now it feels daunting again, when really the communication, the reflection, the how are we doing, the who's doing what, automate the relationship into a reasonable period of time where these check-ins can occur, because that's what's going to keep you on track when things feel like they're moving, as opposed to stop start, right?
Right.
How many times is there something you need to do and you get interrupted, and now you go do that other thing, and now it takes you X amount of time just to get caught back up to where you were? Like that happens in our financial life all the time.
Yeah, to the point where, in thinking about, if you do have something set up that is clearly repeatable, and if it is automated to some degree, if you ever do need to make changes or adapt to different variables and situations, it's much easier to tweak something that's already existing than, to your point, just starting over from scratch every time something changes.
Yeah, and some of that then is just like, maybe I'm saying the same thing, but you almost have to carve out the time, right? Yeah. You have to put something in your calendar, something in your day-to-day life, however you manage things, to say, I know I need to do this, so I'm going to put it on the calendar. This is non-negotiable.
Yeah,
I need to do that.
Yeah, I am a 100% religious user of the reminders app in my iPhone. Like if there is something that I need to remember or block out the time to do it on the personal side of my life, everything lives in that reminders app or my calendar. Otherwise, it just falls by the wayside. There's too much other things going on in life, family. It falls by the wayside.
Yeah, and to that point, you almost have to set deadlines. I mean, how much? Yeah. It's human nature. How many of us get done everything we need to get done well ahead of when it needs to get done? Whether you're a procrastinator or not, there's no judgment here. My wife did it to me on Friday. I've been circling around on making some sort of bigger purchase. I'm never good at it because I know I'm going to have like buyer's remorse the day after. But I've been talking about it for like 3 weeks. And she's like, by the time you come home on Friday, I need you to have your decision done because I don't want to talk about it anymore. I think we do this in life, and we see it with clients too.
Yeah.
If it's some sort of open-ended thing,
yes,
then you're almost putting yourself in a bad spot where you're either making a decision with a lack of info, you are looking for too much info or too much education, and you're just spinning your wheels. You're stuck.
Yeah, that's another one where there's not where it's a decision that doesn't have that time bound nature to it. I in my head I'm smiling when you're going through the scenario. Like, we're like goldfish in that we can grow to the size of the bowl. So as much time as you have to that deadline, for a lot of people, and I'm certainly guilty of this at times, you'll just, well, that's due on Friday. What day is it? Oh, it's Tuesday. I can worry about that on Thursday. Like, it's very easy to just let things continue to pass by. And that's one of those things that, carving out that time, just setting it aside, making sure that you actually do get to it is one thing. But I think the other part of that is, and I think you alluded to it, if it's our help, hopefully if there's an important decision that needs to be made and it may not necessarily be time bound, part of our job is to help give perspective, go through some of the trade-offs, give the education, because sometimes it is just a lack of understanding. Like, if I choose this, what's the domino effect? Hopefully we can give a lot of that information to at least to start whittle down some options so that a decision can come at some point and actually have some confidence behind it, where if you're just staring at a whole laundry list of different variables or different options in front of you, sometimes you just get paralyzed by the amount of choice. And that's another reason why you just kind of let it go until the last minute.
So people can put a lot of weight into the fact that you're talking to two CFPs here. Like, again, we've said this in different podcasts. We've gone through these things. It's our job to understand, like, are these good decisions or are these potentially bad decisions? But the other half of our work is to help people understand, like, maybe you're making a bigger deal of this than it really is based on kind of what we understand. Or on the flip side, hey, you're not giving enough attention to this. So when it comes to making decisions, we can also help, and we want to help people get unstuck from either making a big deal out of a little deal or making a little deal out of a big deal. And
that's well said.
So I've got another one where I think we are seeing this more today than I think I've ever noticed it before. It's the internal biases that people have that I would say, in the theme of getting stuck, they get stuck on something based on the way that they view it and not based on any other outside influence or education that may help direct them more towards what they should be focused on, right? Call that confirmation bias. How many people do we know that they do it with politics? We're not talking about politics. They do it with politics. They do it with financial decisions. They only seek out the data that supports the preconceived notion or the decision that they feel like they've already made. When that's really probably leading them down a bad path.
I'll peel back the curtain. That's one of the frustrating parts of kind of our experience as planners, of trying to lay out all of the reasons why this decision makes the most sense for a person, but they came to us with kind of their mind made up of, here's what I want to do. And you give them all of the data points, you give them all of the trade-offs, and you really kind of lead them down that path to, here's what you should be doing. And then ultimately it's, well, but this is what I want to do, so this is what I'm going to do because this is what I believe. And at a certain point, all of the outside information in the world is not going to change that opinion.
It's not.
And it's hard. There's nothing that we can do about that. And that's where it really just comes down to being open to those different options and different ideas to be able to make a decision that does feel best fit for any one situation.
So I mean, it comes down, how do we help with that? We got to find a good way to communicate, and everybody's a little bit different, but to help communicate and bring to light, like, hey, here's what we're noticing about how you're approaching this. and often it's not to be combative, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to take somebody that has some sort of preconceived notion about risk and now force them into something that's risky. Like that's not going to align. But I think it's our job to kind of help them recognize that, hey, if this is the main thing that you said was really important to you, your biases are actually leading you off the path to what really matters to you. So you either need to recalibrate yourself, or we need to dive deeper into, is the thing that you told us mattered most, like maybe that's not what mattered most. Like it's just finding a way to have more communication to get you unstuck from some sort of bias or perspective that you have that's not good.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And you've said it. What's the most dangerous line that somebody can give us?
Yeah.
And when it comes to their finances.
Yeah. This is how I've always done it.
Right. Then what are you here for? You're just gonna if you like the hamster wheel, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But yeah, I think we're here to add perspective, to give perspective.
Of course. Yep. Yeah.
And part of that's just, being an accountability partner, right? I think if we are, kind of to summarize what getting unstuck is all about, it's having somebody that's going to help you get unstuck or notice when you're stuck.
Yeah, that's hopefully the role that we can play at. I feel like we've said this multiple times before, that it really does come down to, for us, the planning process, that kind of end, I don't want to call it a product, but the end result is, here is our to-do list. Here's all the action items that came out of all of these meetings, all of the analysis. Here's now the handful of steps that we have to implement. You're going to do this. We're going to do these things. And here's where we're going to collaborate together. By the way, here's when we're going to at least give a deadline, right? A target date where we're going to try to get these things done by, so that we actually do them. And then it's just having that ongoing relationship to hold us both accountable to that process and actually try to check those boxes.
Yeah, because I don't want to make it sound like we're belittling the fact that people will get stuck. I mean, this is what happens in life. And look, we work with a lot of incredibly productive people that get really frustrated by being stuck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So part of this is just the empathy of going, hey, again, this stinks if it's out of your control or if it's something you can influence, but it's keeping them back on the path of like, okay, if we're stuck, here's what we need to do to get beyond that, and give them the tools to kind of get there. And oftentimes, I mean, you tell me if you feel differently, oftentimes just having the conversation, like, let's just talk it out.
Yeah.
There's nothing more rewarding for us than, I think, somebody just going, thank you. I just needed to talk that out. I just needed to feel like I could figure out why I was spinning my wheels.
Yeah. We've often heard that at the end of conversations, that it is, this was, even in conversations where we don't feel like we're, reinventing the wheel or bringing any huge, new information to the table. Oftentimes it really is just, saying things out loud with another human being allows you to just put that weight off of your shoulders and now just kind of move forward. And sometimes it really is just that simple.
Maybe that's a good theme for the podcast here. I don't know if this was really valuable. Like when we get out of our our technical world, like what are we providing of value here? It's, look, if you're stuck, it's okay. This is natural. If it's organization, if it's an accountability partner, if it's, you need some sort of automation, like whatever it is, you've got a bias, talk it out, reach out, talk it out. We're here.
Yeah. It's our job.
All right. Thanks, pal.
Thank you.
We'll catch you for podcast next time.
You got it. Bye.
Hey everyone, Adam and I really appreciate you tuning in. Please note that the opinions we voiced in the show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be most appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, your accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to making any decisions or investing. Thanks for listening.